This is Ecosphere. You're now on a journey of discovery to experience a planet where humans and wildlife can both. Welcome to the savannahs of East Africa. Grassland savannahs once covered a quarter of our planet's land surface. These vast areas can be home to huge herds of wild animals, and they're home to us. Here in East Africa, humans share the savanna with the largest land mammal on Earth, the African elephant.
My name is Rafael Tumate. My family have been herding cattle on this savanna for generations. Like some animals here, we have traveled across the grassland, following the rains. In the past, there was always plenty of space for the people, our livestock, and all the wildlife. But all that changed. We became the landowners, and many people settled on the land. They put up fences blocking wildlife corridors. The human population increased, and towns spread into the savanna.
Africa's grasslands are at a critical point. As people work to increase their standard of living, there is inevitable pressure on natural resources. By 2050, the continent's population is expected to grow by more than 1 billion people, placing more pressure on Africa's wild areas and on its wildlife.
As we use the more space, the savanna suffered, the wildlife suffered, and our livestock suffered. Even the mighty elephant is struggling.
Elephants need masses of space to survive. Every year, many move between Kenya and Tanzania, seeking food and to find a mate. Few other animals are so critical for the survival of the savanna ecosystem.
I'm David Dabalin, working for Save the Elephant, head of field operations. As a boy, I always got chased by elephants, either coming from school or going to school. I knew they were not actually out there to hurt me. And this is why I was always amazed by these fascinating animals. I started working for Save the Elephant. This is an elephant research organization that is based in Samburu National Reserve.
Elephants are the architects of the savanna landscape. By dispersing seeds, they create the future trees across the entire ecosystem.
Over 20 years, we've been studying elephants in this region. We've collared hundreds of elephants. We're looking at how elephants take decisions, how they think, how they go through the ecosystem. It's amazing how elephant society is. Matriarchs are like the engine of the family. In terms of drought, she knows where to lead her family. Everyone is looking upon her. She says, let's move, and everyone moves. She says, let's stop and listen. They do that. They're such a very tight unit that share experiences, share the knowledge, and that's how the elephant life is. One of the things that I love watching is a group of elephants coming down to drink, watch, splash themselves in the mud. You see the joy in them. It's so immense.
Elephants have an extraordinary ability to detect distant rain. It's a trigger, a sign for the matriarch to move the family to fresh grazing. In turn, it ensures the grasslands are not overgrazed and the food quality is higher. However, this annual movement takes elephants through a landscape increasingly used by humans.
Over 20 years of tracking these elephants, we know the elephant corridors. And because of the human population that is spreading across the savannas, we're seeing that these corridors are actually disappearing. As a result, we're experiencing so much negative human-wildlife interaction now. We know these animals individually, and when groups come back into the pack and they're missing the adult females, we know that something terrible has gone wrong.
Mostly as a result of poaching for ivory and conflict with humans, numbers of African elephants shrank from over 1 million in 1981 to around just 350,000 today. To help preserve the elephants and their natural habitat, the Kenyan government and local communities adopted a system known as the conservancy model. Under this innovative system, which benefits both people and wildlife, fences are removed, allowing animals to roam widely once more. This model is helping to save Kenya's savannas.
I'm very hopeful that in the future there will be a greater balance between wildlife and people.
People are not only restoring... Jungles are extraordinary. The most biodiverse habitats on Earth. They regulate the weather, generate vast amounts of water, provide food and medicines, and absorb huge quantities of carbon dioxide. But we've not treated them as the special places they are. Today, only half of our planet's jungles remain. Here, in the jungles of Borneo, there's a new story to tell.
My name is Jais bin Lapit. I'm a farmer in Sabah, Borneo. When I grew up, the village was surrounded by jungle. As kids, we used to play in the trees, paddle our boat in the river. Our jungles were amazing, full of life. Back then, I had no idea how special our jungles, and all jungles, really were. Or that one day, we might lose them.
Jungles aren't ordinary forests. These tropical forests are bathed in consistent sunshine, heat and rain. They're home to over half of all the species that live on land. And the tropical forests of Borneo, at nearly 130 million years old, are amongst the most biodiverse jungles on the planet.
Hi, I'm Rose. I've been wildlife guide in Sabah, Borneo for nearly 20 years. Tourists come here from across the planet to experience our jungles and see the diversity of wildlife. Monkeys are everywhere. I like watching them in the forest along the rivers. We have big creatures like elephants and orangutans, but most of the life that lives in the jungles is small.
The jungles of Borneo are home to thousands of different insects and plants. But this variety is not spread evenly throughout the jungle. Each patch has a unique combination of plants and animals, which means some of the life you find in this valley may be different from its neighbours and found nowhere else. So every patch of jungle is precious. That's why we shouldn't clear any of it. Because when we do, we lose a piece of that jungle life forever.
What makes me sad, we have been losing.